guess I'll kind of go over the deck list here. I did find most of it online. I've been messing around with more of it if I can. But 3 Cyber Dragon Hurts. Its name becomes Cyber Dragon once on the field or in the graveyard. You can only use the following effects of Hurts once per turn and only once that turn. So if this card is special summon, you can make its level become 5, and at the end of the turn, until the end of the turn, the only thing you can special summon is machine monsters. That is not a problem in this deck. Pretty much every monster is a machine type. That literally is not a problem. And then if it's into the graveyard, you can add a Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to the hand. This will actually be really good for reasons you'll see later on down in the deck, and I'll come back to it, but that actually effect can be really good. 1 Naster, which I'm thinking about bumping up to 2. I kind of like it at 1, but sometimes it just feels like it should be 2. Its name becomes Cyber Dragon once on the field or in the graveyard. You can discard another monster card to special summon it from your hand. When it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can target a monster with 2100 attack or defense in your graveyard, special summon it, and then you can't special summon anything other than machine type monsters till the end of the turn, and you can only use its effect once per turn. Now, the reason this is good is because turn 1, I discard a Cyber Dragon, special summon Naster from my hand, use its effect, special summoning out Cyber Dragon from the grave, making it pretty good. Now, also, the fact that these become Cyber Dragons on the field works really well with a card called Machine Duplication, which we'll get to later on. Cyber Dragon Core is another good one. Its name also becomes Cyber Dragon when it's on the field or in the graveyard. When it's normal summoned, you add a Cyber Spell / Trap from your deck to your hand. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a Cyber Dragon from your deck. So even if I wanted to, I could just use Hurts to discard Cyber Dragon Core to special summon Hurts. And then if Hurts gets destroyed, like let's say I special summon him in defense or for whatever reason, I most likely am not going to do that combo. It's a weird, bad combo. But Cyber Dragon Core in the graveyard can be used to make up that gap. Okay, I've started comboing off, but now I don't have anything on the field. My opponent's about to be down my throat, literally. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to activate the core in my graveyard. I'm going to banish it. I'm going to special summon Cyber Dragon, and I'm going to be done. Pretty good. Then 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which is very essential. This is like one of the main things I made sure to craft. But when a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can discard this card to negate that effect. So if the effect adds a card from the deck to the hand, special summons from the deck, or sends a card from the deck to the graveyard, you can discard a copy of this card to negate that effect. This is really good. This is a hand trap. We need these. We like these. We want these. So having 3 of them is really good. A lot of decks are going to do that. And it also, coincidentally, really can mess up the mirror match. You know, messing up your core effects or messing up the adding a card to the hand effect, which you get from things like Hurts or Naster or not Naster, but Hurts or Core. It messes up the mirror match and a couple of other decks as well. Obviously, 3 Cyber Dragons, which in case you don't know, is if only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So kind of like Core's effect, but on itself and from the hand instead of Core being in the graveyard and special summoning out a Cyber Dragon. Not bad. 2 Galaxy Soldier, because you can send 1 other light monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon it in defense position. When it's special summon, you can add a Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. I think this actually needs to be cut out. Hold up. Because I don't have anything to add with this. Besides the fact that you can special summon it, and it's a machine monster, and it has 2000 attack. You can special summon it from the hand. Otherwise, it's actually mostly what you're going to use it for is discard fodder. So if I use Naster, and I discard a card, I did special summon Naster, I now have a Galaxy Soldier in the graveyard. Now this is a good discard fodder because of cards like Monster Reborn being limited to 1. So that I'm gonna do that. Yeah, sometimes it's not the best combo. Now this is a combo that was kind of ridiculous because Regeki being at 1 means that I can nuke my opponent's field, but I do play 2 Jizukiru. Which is you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in attack position by tributing a monster they control. which is a normal kaiju effect. If your opponent controls a kaiju monster, you can special summon this card from attack position, so that's why it's the second one. Then, when a card or effect is activated that targets one card, you can remove 3 kaiju counters from the field and negate the effect, and if you do, destroy 1 card on the field. So, almost will never use that second effect, that last effect, but the special summoning it from the hand if your opponent controls one, you'll use, and giving it to your opponent is fine because I will just Regeki it. This is basically a way of destroying my opponent's card. I can either special summon another one from my hand, or I can Regeki it and then Monster Reborn it, which are the next 2 cards in the deck. Both one-ofs, you both want to play both of them. Then Machine Duplication. So, Machine Dupe is really, really good. Because I can target a machine monster I control with 500 attack or less, and special summon 2 monsters from my deck with the same name as that face-up monster. What this means is if Hertz is on the field, if Nasher is on the field, if Core is on the field, all of them are under 500 attack. So I'm going to target one of them, which on the field, their name is Cyber Dragon. So Machine Duplication is going to special summon out 2 Cyber Dragons from my deck. 2100 attackers is not maybe the best, but it gives me into my other combos with my Link monsters, my Xyz, my Fusions. Like, this is a great card for setting up. You can literally just normal summon anything out, special summon out 2 Cyber Dragons, and then do more. So this will just be like Machine Duplication will be good for a while in this deck. Overload Fusion, which is fusion summoning a Dark Machine Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing the fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. So I can go into my graveyard and I can banish materials to special summon out a dark, which all of my fusions are dark type monsters. They are also part of very much so the OTK strategy of the deck. We've got 3 Cyber Emergency, which actually winds up being really good. We got I got a shiny one too. I really like this. But you add a light machine monster that can Okay, Ark, just want to hear. Okay. I forgot that I had speakers on my computer now, and that like messed me up. But Cyber Emergency, you can add a light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. If the activation of this card in its possession was negated, you can discard a card to add it back to your hand. So, you know, hopefully it doesn't get negated and you can add things. But in the event that you activate your Cyber Emergency to try to get more cards, it's basically a tutor. And let's say you get like Ash Blossomed, you can discard a card, which is where you're like having maybe Jizukiru or Galaxy Soldier. You can discard those cards without a problem. And then you just add it back to hand and activate it again. Now, if they do it again, you can only activate it once per turn. So you have to wait on the Cyber Emergency for a turn. So like you can't do it the same turn. So if I use it, I can't reuse it after I discard. I just get it back to my hand and be able to use it. But like, let's say I have 3 cards in my hand: Cyber Emergency, Jizukiru, and Monster Reborn. I'm gonna activate Cyber Emergency to try to tutor something out, right? Then they negate it with the Ash Blossom, with like an Ash Blossom effect of some kind. So I'm going to discard my Jizukiru to add my Cyber Emergency back to hand. Then I'm gonna activate Monster Reborn, so I've got this 3,300 attack monster back on the field. Like, this is not a bad comp. Like, being able to special summon out Jizukiru is a good thing for this. Like, it's not the main point of the deck, but it's still a very good thing for the deck to do. Then we put 1 Cyber Repair Plant, because if Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of the 2 effects. If you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard, you can activate both effects and resolve it in order. What this means is that like my Nasher, my Hurt, and Core also kind of Cyber Dragons in the graveyard. So there are 10 targets in this deck that could be in the deck. That's a quarter of the deck that could be in the graveyard to trigger this off. First off, we had add a light machine monster from your deck to your hand. So again, more tutoring for things like Cyber Dragons. Jizukiru is also searchable with this. So if you need to get into that combo piece and you want to do that, that's always there. Then the second part is just to target a light machine monster in your graveyard and shuffle that target back in the deck. So if I'm running out of Cyber Dragons in the deck, let's say I want a Machine Duplication on my field, but I only have 1 Cyber Dragon in the deck, I can use a Cyber Repair Plant target a Cyber Dragon in my graveyard and put it back in the deck and then machine dupe things out. That's not a problem. This is actually really good combos to do. Cyber Rev system is special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So, not really a tutor per se, but it definitely adds to the deck. As a one of, it's basically a monster reborn for your Cyber Dragons, which you need, and then the things like Naster, which if you special summon it, you can also special summon another, Cyber Dragon from the graveyard, and when you do that, you now have 2 Cyber Dragons on the field and can use things like your Overload Fusion and other effects that will do just that. So Rev system can get you into a decent start. So like Naster is one of those things that like one of is fine. You don't really need more than the one of, especially since you need room for your Ash Blossoms. Galaxy Soldier is a great discard, and so is Jizukiru. So having 4 cards that you can discard it like pretty much any time is really good to have in the deck. Did the game's audio just quit out or what? The game's audio is not playing. Why is it not playing? That's weird. Let me see why the game's audio isn't playing. Why are you not playing? Let me okay. But moving on, we have Pot of Prosperity. We play 3 of this. Banish 3 or 6 cards from your choice from your extra deck face down. For the rest of the turn after this card resolves, any damage your opponent takes is halved. Now, I'll excavate the same number of cards from the top of your deck from the cards that were banished. And add an excavated card to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom in any order. So, basically, I'm going to banish 3 cards from my extra deck face down for the rest of the turn. So I won't be able to use, like, I'll have 3 cards I won't be able to use, but that's fine because I can just, I can mill 3, look at them, add a card to hand, and be done. This is more of the tutor things. I mean, this is basically just playing an extra copy of a couple of different things. It just depends on what you draw in the top 3. And, things, sometimes it can be cards that you really need, like Quaking Mirror Force. I play 2 of this because I really like having trap cards in the field that can mess up my opponent's day. Plus, I don't have 3 Impermanence. So, Quaking Mirror Force is a really good one. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, change all of your opponent's attack position monsters to face down defense. And monsters changed to face down defense position by this effect cannot change their battle position. So they go to face down defense and they stay there. Now, flip effects will suck for this, but Mirror Force thing, Quaking Mirror Force is really good though, because it leaves cards on my opponent's field that they can't move because they can't change their battle position effects. They are naughty, yes, but they can't change their battle positions. So I can pick them off with my attacks and with some effects that will allow me to do a bunch more. I will do that. Then we have 1 infinite impermanence. I would play 3, but I do not have the ability to craft another one at this point. And whenever I pull 2 more, I will definitely be playing all 3 as much as possible. Well, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and negate its effects. Then, if this card was set before activation and is on the field, for the rest of the turn, all other spell/trap effects in this column are negated. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. So, if you have nothing on the field, it becomes a spell card. You can negate all of the effects of an opponent's card. And then if you had set it first, so you flip it face up in your trap zone, your opponent's card directly behind it. So like if I've got the 5 cards on the field and this is in the middle spot, my opponent's middle spot is not going to be usable. So it has perks to being set and also perks to being activated from hand if you have no cards in the field. So going first, you could do this just to kind of negate opponent's effects and then swing into face. That way you don't have to worry about it. Or you can set this and then do the next turn whenever they go to start activating effects, just negate it randomly. And then, one of their spell and trap cards will not be able to be used. That's a perfectly fine strategy. Infinite Impermanence is a really, really good card because it counters a lot of different decks. Next, we have Cybernetic Overflow. This is the list I was looking at when I was originally building the deck. I actually played this as like a sample, but they said to take it out when you got more cards to replace it with. Honestly, I actually really like it. You can banish Cyber Dragons with different levels from your hand, face-up, field, and or graveyard, and destroy an equal number that your opponent controls. If this card is destroyed by a card effect, add a Cyber Spell/Trap to your hand. I like this because I can banish Cyber Dragons from my grave, and then, well, I guess it actually doesn't have as much of an effect, but it does actually get me out of a bind in some situations. Like, let's say I don't have any of my tutors, I can Cybernetic Overflow, activate it, and destroy things. I can get rid of things from my graveyard that I don't need. Let's say I've got 5 Cyber Dragons in my graveyard. I'm just going to banish 2 from my graveyard. Like, I'm going to banish a core and a Hertz from my graveyard and destroy 2 things on my opponent's field that are bothering me. Like, that's not bad. And it's with different levels. So, like, core is level 2, Hertz is level 1. So it's really not that hard. And then, of course, you can banish a normal Cyber Dragon if you want to. I don't recommend banishing the normal Cyber Dragons if you can help it. Then 2 Solemn Judgment. In a pinch, this can be really good. Because it is when a monster will be summoned or a spell/trap card is activated, pay half your life points, negate the summoner activation if you do destroy that card. I use Solemn Judgment in a couple of situations. It helps to finish out games. If I think my opponent's getting ready to finish their combo, or I see a combo piece that they're summoning, you can activate the Solemn Judgment, stop their combo dead in its tracks, and then, or end the combo early and destroy things. Then you're open to do more things next turn. Do not activate Solemn Judgment if, like, let's say I'm at 4,000 life points. I've got nothing on the field. My opponent summons a 1,800, and they have a 2,200 on the field already. I'm not going to activate Solemn Judgment to negate the 1,800 summon because I'm going to lose either way. So, I might do it just to do something, but at the same time, just be very careful about when you activate things like this. Like, if I'm going to activate it, if I'm at 5,000 and they've got a 2,200 and they go to summon the 1,800, I'll negate the negation of the 1,800 because I can go down to 300, but only if I know that they're going to be done with the combo. Just be careful about when activating cards like this because the cost is heavy, but it can be a very good payout in the end. Master Duels so much I reassembled my IRL deck. Nice, Teen Titans. That's nice. I then play 2 now into the extra deck because, like, obviously all of these cards seem focused around popping out Cyber Dragons and then being able to use cards like Overload Fusion and other stuff like that. So why are we doing that? What payoff do we have in the extra deck that could be for that? So Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, which can kind of be like an OTK win strat of this deck when combined with cards like Seeger, but we'll get into that. But it is the fusion materials are 2 or more 2+ Cyber Dragon monsters. So your Hertz, your Core, your Nasher, your normal Cyber Dragons all count towards this on the field. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. When this card is fusion summoned, you can target spells/traps on the field up to the number of fusion materials used for its fusion summon and destroy them. Once per turn, you can send 2 light machine monsters from your deck to your graveyard, and if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard, it gains an additional attack during each battle phase this turn. This is really good. I can get rid of cards like my Galaxy Soldier or my Jizukiru from my deck. I can send them to the graveyard. Then I get 2 more attacks with the Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, which is 2,100 attacking 3 times. This is good. Then I have cards like Monster Reborn that can allow me to bring things like the Jizukiru back. The combo goes on and on. Do remember, if you decide to play any of the other cards for Cyber Dragons that allow you to special summon cards from your graveyard, or special summon cards from your extra deck, like your fusion monsters, without actually fusion summoning them, do remember your Monster Reborn will not be able to special summon those cards back. As it was not properly summoned the first time, it cannot be re-special summoned back the second time. It needs to be properly summoned the proper way the first time, and then you can special summon it back from the graveyard, but only if you actually fusion summoned it. Do keep that in mind. Next, we have Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which is the cost of a Cyber Dragon and 1+ machine monsters. Cannot be used as fusion material, but it must first be special summoned by sending the above cards from the field to the graveyard. And because you're sending it from the field of the graveyard, you don't actually have to use polymerization from that for this. But its original attack becomes 1,000 times the number of fusion materials. So the more cards you use on this, the bigger it's going to be. It can be a really big beat stick when you get to the later game and you're just like trying to spit out dudes. Like let's say I just normal summon Hurts and I use machine dupe. Now I've got 3 monsters on the field, but my opponent's got a 25, like a dark magician or something on the field, for example. And I can't get over it. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to use Cybernetic Fortress Dragon. I'm going to get rid of those 3. I'm going to have a 3,000 attacker on the field, and I'm going to, go ham on the strat. That's fine. Then also to that end, we also play Cybernetic Mega Fleet Dragon because it's basically the same exact effect, except it is costed with a Cyber Dragon monster and 1+ monsters in the extra monster zone. So kind of requires the use of like your link monsters or to have fusion summon something else out beforehand. So like the Cybernetic Fortress Dragons and stuff like that can be used for this effect. But its original attack becomes 1,200 times the number of fusion materials used for a special summon. So it becomes even bigger. So if I've got those 3, if I've got 2 cards, because it's only going to be like 2 cards, it's a 2,400 attacker. So in some cases, you probably would rather use Cybernetic Fortress Dragon. But if you've got both extra monster zones filled up, you can definitely use Mega Fleet Dragon and get a 3,600 attacker out. That is not a bad strategy at all. I still will probably choose to go into Cybernetic Rampage Dragon as much as possible. But that's just me. Going into 2 Cyber Dragon Nova, which is the one of the 2 exceeds for this deck. And it takes 2 level 5 machine monsters. So the fact that you can make when you special summon Hurt, you can make it become a level 5. So you can use Hurts, the turn it special summon, to do things like this. So if I special summon Hurts for any reason from the graveyard, let's say I have Monster Reborn my Hurts out, like that's the only option I have. He becomes a level 5. I can then like machine dupe, and now I've got 3 level 5s. I'll use a Hurts and a Cyber Dragon, and I'll make a Cyber Dragon Nova. Not bad. What is it now? With that, you can once per turn you can detach material from the card and target a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard and special summon it once per turn. Once per turn you can banish 1 Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up from your monster zone, and it gains 2,100 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 machine fusion monster from your extra deck. Lo and behold, you can special summon out your Cybernetic Rampage Dragon. But do remember, if this card is sent to the graveyard and you special summon out your Rampage Dragon and Rampage Dragon gets destroyed too, you cannot re-special summon the Rampage Dragon back with the Monster Reborn. That it does not work that way. Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is 3 level 6 light machine monsters, or you can put it over the Cyber Dragon Nova and you transfer its materials over. So this is, going to help you out with building Warrior combo. This is going to help you out because you can just go into Nova and then just go straight into Infinity if you want to, which is definitely a valuable strat. It gains 200 attack for each of its materials. So if you overlay over the Nova, which is most likely what you're going to do, you get a 600 boost, making it a 2,700 attack monster. Then once per turn, you can target a face-up monster on the field, attach it to this card as a material. Then once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can detach a material and negate the activation if you do destroy it. So this will keep you safe. This will do good things, and you can choose your opponent. And if you target one face-up attack monster on the field, it doesn't say your field, so I'm assuming you can target your opponents. Like again, I haven't actually gotten to play this deck. This is all like theory crafting, so please do keep that in mind. Then we have a Link Spider because it is it uses a normal monster, which is fine. But once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 lower normal monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. We don't really have any normal monsters in the deck, so it's probably gonna get cut out very soon, like as in like very, very soon. It's kind of just useless in this deck. This was actually being used when we had a couple of cards in the basic version that can use this, so it is definitely a decent strategy to like summon out your normal monster, use Link Spider, then special summon something else out from your hand. You get 2 cards out. The only downside is Link Spider is only an 1,000 attack point monster. So do keep that in mind. Now, Seeger is what makes the deck, it gives the deck a little bit of oomph. So for Link summoning it, you have to get rid of 2 machine monsters, including a Cyber Dragon. Oh, including Cyber Dragon. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while in the field in the graveyard, so it counts towards your things like your fusion summons of Mega Fleet, Fortress, and Rampage Dragon. Then during each of your battle phase, if this card is not declared an attack, you can target a machine monster you control and give it 2,100 or more attack, or with 2,100 or more attack. And to the end of the turn, it gains 2,100 attack and defense. Also, neither player takes battle damage from attacks involving this monster. So what I do with this, let me explain the combo here. Let me break it down. So what I do with this is I go Seeger, I get my Rampage Dragon out, I use Seeger's effect. Before I attack, I use Seeger's effect. I give the Rampage Dragon the 2,100, so it's a 4,200 attacker. So like it's a 4,200 attacker there that it can attack 3 times. Since I'm going to banish 2 cards from I'm going to send 2 cards from my deck to my graveyard. That's not a problem. Now, Seeger doesn't deal damage. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use my 2,100 attacker to get rid of other things on the field that need to be gotten rid of. So if my opponent's got defense monsters, I'm going to attack those first with Seeger and then switch over to the Rampage Dragon, which 4,200 attacks is really good. I've said this before. I'll say it again. It's an OTK strategy. The deck can pop off. It doesn't do it first turn, which you don't want to do it first turn anyways. If you're not being able to attack for lethal, you don't really want to be popping off. But when you do pop off, you should be attacking for lethal regardless.